Yo, it's your boy Joe.
This your boy Greg. We the co-pilots from coast to coast. We do the most for what's your flight, whatever it is, we got you covered.
Hey man, what's going on today, man?
Not much, man. I'm out here in Illinois, man. You know what I'm saying? A little bit outside of Chicago, traveling back and forth. Same as usual.
Yeah, so by the way, we are streaming live on TikTok tonight, Co-Pilots Podcast, episode 102. Got my
Okay.
co-host Greg here. Hope you guys can hear him. But we're gonna get right into it tonight. Uh, and we're gonna be discussing Shedeur Sanders versus Dillon Gabriel. And
Am I
that's been the biggest topic, amongst NFL fans. And everybody want to know about who's winning the battle. And I'm gonna let you take off, Greg, first before I give my assessment. But I'm gonna let you take off with this one.
I would say, man, if I'm breaking the two down, man, I would say as of right now it's Shedeur Sanders or whatnot. And that's because of the two turnovers that Dillon Gabriel had. He had an interception and he had a fumble. And but outside of that, Dillon Gabriel had a great game or whatnot. He played, he was showing that, he was able to make quick reads, he was able to scan the field, he was able to be accurate going downfield. And it was the same thing with Shedeur Sanders. He was accurate downfield and everything like that there. We seen, like, man, he threw between the tight window to have the two TDs. But when you break down the stats and everything, you have to give it to Shedeur Sanders because he had two touchdown passes with no turnovers. Dillon Gabriel, on the other hand, he had two turnovers and zero touchdowns. But when you watch both outside of that, watching both of them, when you look at their skill set, it kind of they looked it similar. You know, I would say my thing is with Shedeur Sanders is this, and this is something I noticed in college. One of the things that I would like to see him do more of is take what the defense give him. You get what I'm saying? Instead of the big plays, he's a big play quarterback, but I would like to see him to be able to settle for the short throws or whatnot. You get what I'm saying? Like when the play ain't there, because we know that a lot of times in the NFL, this is one of the things that Jameis Winston struggled with throughout his career. We knew the talent was there, but at the same time, it's like sometimes you have to take what the defense give you. And this is one of the things that we see out a lot of the great players, if I had to call out Tom Brady. That's
Right.
something we see him that we praise him often for, you know. But one of the things I would say, I give him another thing I give Shedeur Sanders the edge for his ability to stay in plays. He was able to stay in plays better than Dillon Gabriel. We seen times that Dillon Gabriel took sacks. Shedeur Sanders, his scrambling ability surprised a lot of people because we seen, at times he was able to roll out the pocket. And we know that, especially as a rookie, especially when plays break down, you know, your ability to scramble outside the pocket, you're able to make plays or whatnot.
Yeah, I give it to you right now that Shedeur Sanders did look a lot better in the offense as far as the turnover wise. He didn't turn the ball over. But if I gotta be honest with you too, Dillon Gabriel, he looked good in the offense as well. You know what I'm saying? And he made a lot of tight throws too, especially across the middle. You know what I'm saying? He was straight in the middle of the field. You know what I'm saying? But again, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the points that you mentioned, Greg, Shedeur Sanders surprised a lot of people with his mobility, and he was poised in the pocket. He did everything right. But I still think right now with everything's going on, man, it seems like to me, and I don't know if you feel like this, but I think a lot of people still leaning towards Dillon Gabriel having the advantage over him in that quarterback battle. You got a lot of people like Dan Orlowski and others that is not blaming that interception on him. What your thoughts on that, Greg?
I would say this, right? True enough, you've seen multiple receivers in the same area. So that was a great point that Dan brought out. But at the same time, as a quarterback, this is one of the things you have to pick up on. You have to notice that and be willing to throw the ball away. You get what I'm saying? So although when you look at how everything was set up, it had nothing to do with Dillon Gabriel, but the
Right.
throw. You get what I'm saying? He still made the throw. And the throw that he made, he threw it to the receiver. I mean, he threw it to the cornerback, and it was a pick six. So he have to wear that. He made a great point. Dan Orlovsky made a great point. But at the same time, the end result, the quarterback made the decision. So seeing that, you have to count that as bad decision making by Dillon Gabriel because he could have still threw the ball away.
Yeah, I agree with that too as well, man. He could have threw that ball away. It just seemed like the wide receiver on that route, man, he just gave up on it, and a little bit you can see the effort wasn't really there. It was a little bit confusing. But again, you gotta take care of the ball in a tight quarterback battle, man. You gotta be knowing that any little thing you do is gonna give the edge to the other quarterback. And right now, bro, I think Shedeur Sanders should be QB2 on the depth chart right now, man. If it was my opinion, if I had to go today, I would say we already know Joe Flacco gonna be QB1.
Right.
Shador two, and I think Dillon Gabriel's earning his spot at number 3 right now. We already know what Kenny Pickett gonna do. You get what I'm saying? So I don't even think he should even be some trade bait. Maybe you know what I'm saying. The Saints or somebody might get him, or they need a quarterback. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, even with if the Saints trade for him, because you look at Spencer Rattler, man. Spencer Rattler looked good. Spencer
yeah, he
Rattler
did.
looked like he could possibly QB1. You know, Spencer Rattler looked like he could possibly be QB1. He took some great shots downfield. You know, and like I say, man, he got number 15 heavy involved in the game, so he looked good out there, man. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You know, but back to the Shador and the Shador Dillon thing. You know, there was also some comments that came out over the weekend, and me personally, I don't feel like Dylan was taking a shot at Shador. I just thought he was answering the question. He might have could have answered a little bit better than the way he answered with the entertainers, or trying to throw a little shot value, or whatever. In my opinion, but I don't think it was a direct shot at Shador, man. I thought it was honest, but you got others out there like Shannon and other people that think that he was taking a shot at Shador.
Uh, my big thing is this, man. When you ask somebody something,
Still on,
and
Greg?
yeah, you can hear me.
I don't hear him, but we gonna keep.
Hello, damn, I can hear damn.
Yeah, I can hear you. Keep going. Keep going.
Okay, yeah. So my thing is this, right? A lot of
Keep going.
times when yeah, I'm going out. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, my thing is this, man. A lot of times when you have situations like that, you ask somebody a question or whatnot, I expect an honest answer. So, all these dudes, they grown men. So when he was asked the question, in the interview, the second interview or whatnot, I just, for me, I want to take that response. I want to take it on face value because at the same time, I want to believe that he a man that's going to stand up on his own too. That you're not going to throw a brick and hide your hand. So that side of me want to leave everything he said at that moment or whatnot. You get what I'm saying? Either either he's was sincere about what he said or he's a hell of an actor because he answered those questions spot on. It wasn't a pause when they asked him, so it's like okay, because now hearing what he said at first, going with everything around it with the outside noise and everything like that, there, you know, it I kind of understand like for that a person would think that, but at the same time, if somebody make a comment, you ask them about it. What did you mean by that? And he said this is what he meant about it. So, with that, this is what, I'm going to take it with his statement on face value because of that. But I have to ask myself this question too. You know what I'm saying? Like, how did like with the media, with entertainment or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? So that's the confusing part. That what so when you say, throughout Shedeur Sanders' career in college, when you look at the, everything that went on at Colorado, people looked at this team as playing for clicks as entertainers and not real football players. You get what I'm saying? So this was the narrative of Colorado football amongst some people.
Right.
So at the same time, it's like, now, you don't want to have to walk on eggshells with choosing your words, because what you say what you mean what you say, you know.
Fact.
So at the same time, but he said this is what he meant about that comment. So, I want to take what he said for face value, and I'm going, but at the same time, when I first heard it, I was like, well, damn, it do lead the question, like, what do you mean by that? You get what I'm saying? So I understand why people assume that he took shots at Shedeur, but once the question was asked and he cleared it up, it's like, okay, moving forward, his whatever he says is going to be monitored. You get what I'm saying?
You're right about that. Now, like I said again, man, I didn't think he took shots at Shedeur when he said that comment. What I don't like about it is I feel like a lot of these people that's getting on these sports talk shows and they're making it more than what it really is. And again, the guy's a rookie. You know what I'm saying? So you got to take that in consideration. Not saying that he's not PR. He was a quarterback in Oregon. That's a big program. But you know what I'm saying? I think he is obligated to, to have a one off in this situation. And again, I don't think it was a jam at Shedeur. Now, I mean, like I say, he should have said, I wouldn't have said entertainers, because then, I can see how I could insinuate what you're trying to say. I just think his word usage should have been a little bit better to alleviate that, man. But it just adds more fuel to this tight competition battle, man. And I don't know, man. So I got another question on this Shedeur and a Dillon thing, man. With everything playing out the way it is right now, can you see a scenario where Shedeur is QB1?
Oh yeah, I definitely could. You get what I'm saying? Like I said, and it's like I mentioned last week, right? I don't have a lot of faith in Joe Flacco. You get what I'm saying? So this situation can pan out like RG3 and Kirk Cousins. You get what I'm saying?
Uh
Where
huh.
you drafted, you know, you get quarterbacks, where you have two quarterbacks on your roster that's have the ability to be a QB1, you know?
Right.
And so that's how I can see this situation panning out. Sooner or later, one of those guys is gonna get traded. I think the city of Cleveland is going to keep Shedeur Sanders, and I think Dillon Gabriel is going to be the guy that get traded. Unless we see some type of injury or something like that. But I don't see Joe Flacco this season. I don't see Joe Flacco leash being that long this season. Like I say, last season, like he didn't play this. He wasn't the same Joe Flacco the year prior. So I don't see his leash being that long. And I think that everybody want to see what's going to happen out of Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Because when you break everything down, you still have two number one picks next season, and you have a more talented group of quarterbacks coming out next year. So you have to make the decision, like, are you going to build around Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders, or do you need to go into the draft next year and draft a quarterback?
Yeah, man. I do see a scenario. I don't think it would be Dillon Gabriel that'll get traded. I can see a scenario where I think maybe Kenny Pickett gets traded, or I definitely see a scenario where uh Shedeur Sanders may possibly get traded. And the only reason why, hear me out here. I think, with the way he's playing in the preseason, a team may just get desperate, like the Saints. I keep throwing them out there because I think they got the worst quarterback room right now. And I really do think they got the worst quarterback room right now, man. Now Spencer Rattler is, he's a good
Right.
prospect, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know if they're ready to roll with him. But again, man, I can see a team getting desperate. The Saints, the Jets. Justin Fields got hurt early on in training camp.
Right.
They can use him as a backup, maybe possibly. It's some teams out there, shit. So I mean, I think he can possibly get traded before training camp, man. At the end of training camp, I think a team like, hey, man, let's give up something for Shedeur. Let's roll the dice on him. And he's a fifth round pick, so ain't heavily invested in him. So you get what I'm saying. You don't have to give up a king's ransom for him, but I think a team just might just do that. I think they roll with Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel is the guy that they picked before Joe Flacco. I mean, before Shedeur. So you know how these GMs and guys are. They want to make sure that they pick. They want to justify their pick. I mean,
Right,
we've seen it before in the past where we had Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees on the same roster.
right,
They went and drafted Phillip Rivers. They got rid of Drew Brees. So I can see
correct,
the same thing in a scenario like this, but just hey, it's just Shedeur Sanders being traded.
right.
So any follow ups on the Shedeur Sanders before we get to our next topic?
Nah, man, I can't wait to see how they look next this week coming, man. So you pretty much, I would say this, like going in this week, you pretty much, man, you got to play both of those guys, man. Both of those guys, you need to see both of them with reps in the first quarter with the first team.
Right, right.
You know,
I agree. You're gonna have to do that because right now, if you ask me, I feel like Shedeur is here and Joe and Dillon Gabriel is like here.
right,
They not far off. You know what I'm saying? I mean, minus the turnovers, obviously, but when you just look at both of them in the offense, both of them look like they can run the offense efficient.
right. Both
So
of them look the same. Outside of the two turnovers and the touchdown passes and whatnot, because that
right,
I see that as really the deciding factor in this debate. Outside of
absolutely.
that, both of those guys, both of them look similar.
They did, man. And see, that's the thing, man. It's like not no one's really separating themselves from this quarterback battle. So when you have a situation like that, you gonna have to play both. And I think, or maybe you say, hey, Shedeur, you play the first half, Gabriel, you play the second half. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? And we figure it out from there. Um, but the only thing about that is the only reason why it's gonna be kind of hard is because you already know most teams not gonna be playing their starters all the way until late into the
right,
third or fourth quarter. You know what I'm saying? So they gotta figure that out some way. Maybe Shedeur Sanders do it the first drive of the game, and then Gillen Gabriel the second drive. Something, you know what I'm saying?
right.
While the first team's out there, they see who look better on the first team, and I don't know, man, but it's gonna be a hard decision. But I do think whoever is the winner is gonna be trade bait. Somebody's gonna get trade bait. I see somebody getting traded from this Cleveland Brown quarterback room because they got. They got some quarterbacks, man, that
Right.
could possibly be some starters, man. I mean, all these guys can be potentially starting quarterbacks.
I would say this, man. You at least it would be best to get rid of one of those guys this season. You get what I'm saying? Be before the trade deadline, because you want whoever the guy is that you bring in to be around your team. You want some type of comfortability around him and whatnot. Not saying that he shouldn't have to compete for his job, but you don't want this to happen. Like he make one or two mistakes. Now you bringing in the next guy that's on the. You want to give your young quarterback room to fail, but also room to overcome his failures as well. So
Right,
that's why I think it may sound like a good position to have two quarterbacks, but it's like they always say in the National Football League, when you got two quarterbacks, you know, um, yeah, they say whenever you got why this
yeah,
thing keep coming out.
yeah. I
But
got you.
like you want your quarterback to have time to you want him to have room to fail and overcome his failures or whatnot. You get what I'm saying? Because like they
Right,
always say in the National Football League, when you have two quarterbacks, you have none. So I would say it would be very advantageous for this team, man, to let one of the two trade one of these guys or whatnot. And then you have a quarterback room with Joe Flacco, either Gabriel Sanders, either one of those two, and a guy like Kenny Pickett as your third guy. You know what I'm saying? Where he probably be gone. I'll probably get rid of him, but you can have him as a third guy. Then you get what I'm saying?
right. So I get what you're saying. So you basically saying that having both of these guys, it's gonna at some point, if we know that Joe Flacco ain't gonna be the guy, and you want this guy to be the next guy up, you gotta solidify that role. But so now he
Right.
don't have to be looking over his shoulder.
Right. You gotta give him some room to breathe a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that he shouldn't have to compete. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, man, you don't want it to be a situation like with Tua. You know, as soon as he started making mistakes, he got
Right.
as soon as he started making mistakes, he got benched. So you don't want a situation like that to occur.
I feel you. And I think, at some point, man, the Cleveland Browns, man, they're gonna have to really start making a decision on what they're gonna do at this quarterback room because I mean, it's been the talk of training camp. We talking about it every week. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be that, and I think going into week one, I would try to douse that noise, like get this thing figured out because you want to be focused going into the regular season. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want that drama of quarterback, Shedeur, and that. You know what I'm saying? You want to kill it. And I
Right.
think you're gonna have to really, if I'm the Browns organization, I'm looking at, hey man, let's we got 2 more weeks to this bullshit. Actually, yeah, 2 more weeks to this. But come goddamn week one, we want to be focused on whoever team we playing with, who we playing first. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I think that's the thing, moving forward though, man. Any of your final thoughts, Greg?
Nah, that's it.
All right. So let's roll right into our Jaguars talk, man. We're gonna talk about our Jacksonville, beloved Jacksonville Jaguars, week two. You know, very strange game week two. You know what I'm saying? They got up real good. We thought they was gonna look good. It was gonna be a blowout. And then, the Saints come back and tie the thing up 17-17, man. Trevor Lawrence, if I had to give him a letter grade, I'll give him a B minus. I thought he did look good in the opening drive. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, turnovers and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, when he was out there with the first team, he looked efficient. I give him kudos. And then the defense, I thought they played well against a Saints team that don't have a quarterback. So they look better coming out. But I'm still questioning about this defense because the Saints don't have no quarterback. So what I'm saying? Like, we don't know how this team really defense gonna look defensively against a competent quarterback. So
Right.
my thoughts, Greg. I mean, your thoughts, Greg.
Yeah, man. I do think that when we look at the defense, man, it's about getting the rhythm or whatnot. And although the Saints didn't score nothing but 17 points, I think that was the final score 17-17. You looking at the final drive, like, you guys, y'all playing for y'all jobs. So, it's no way you should be allowing big plays like this to happen. But at the same time, like I say, man, there's always room for improvement with this team, man. I just want to see, man, the starters with more solid reps. And I think that, man, we really not going to be able to really make all the determination with this team until the week one. You get what I'm saying? Preseason,
Right.
different story. But when we talking about the defense, I think that that's when we really going to be able to make all determination with how this team going. And also, man, I like the trade that we did, man, with the addition of Sanders and whatnot at the D tackle spot. Because, like I say, man, if what your guy name is that's holding out,
I'm saying
Armstead, like he want to continue to hold out, it's like, all right, man, we can just get rid of you. You know what I'm saying? Avoid the headache, avoid the problems and whatnot. You get what I'm saying? Because
right,
I really feel like this here, right? That I knew we was gonna let guys go, and I knew we was gonna keep certain guys. You know,
right.
we could have let him go and kept got doggone Evan Ingram. I thought Evan Ingram was very productive last season, like well beyond how he played. So that
He
was
robbed, man.
I,
That was robbed the church's money, man.
right, and I thought we should have kept Evan Ingram, man. But he's gone now, so it is what it is. But back to my point though, I thought that was a good pickup though with Sanders, man, to see how he pan out with us.
Yeah, man. I think we needed to get some D tackle help because I think that was the missing piece in this defense, man. And when you just look at just like you said, Armstead still holding out, and we still got other key injuries like Mason Smith who haven't played yet, Tyler Lacey, other guys that's on the defensive front that haven't really played. Um,
Right.
I gotta solidify the D tackle. It's getting close to week one. We gotta get some guys out there, man. I just think that at this point with Armstead, we gotta move on from this guy, man. He did not do nothing for us last year. I don't think it'll be any different this year, man. I don't know, man. I mean, we got new coordinators, man. It seems like to me, when I think about it, man, I feel like he's doing this purposely so he can move on, man, go to another team, man. That's what it seemed like he pulling the Jalen Ramsey.
Right, and I'm like this here, man. And I think that when it comes to like inside the office between the players and the front office, I think it's need to be more transparency because if this is what you want, this is what you asking for, say that. So that way, the situation get approached better. You know, going into the all season, then now everybody happy, everybody get what they want. You get what I'm saying? So I think that man, transparency is the best thing going forward. Man, play, I think that man.
Oh man, we gotta be straight up. But man, some of these, some. I mean, it's a new front office, man. Got a lot of young guys. I think we can into that. But at the same time, man, I like what the Jacksonville Jaguars are doing as far as, hey, man, we're not gonna let one monkey slow this show down. Let's get a guy in here, man. You know what I'm saying? And
Right,
I thought, them getting Kate and Saunders was a good pickup. Um, but I think, man, man, I think for me, Greg, man, I don't know, bro. It's the defense for me, bro. I don't know, man. It's like they looked okay against the Saints. You know what I'm saying? The first team did, but then you look at our third and fourth team, man. How they let these guys come back? I mean, they let Spencer Ratliff look like he was an elite quarterback out there, man. And I mean, not saying that he's not good as far as like being a serviceable backup, but the way they made him look, dog, I don't trust our backups on the defensive end. And I think that if we get injuries like have massive injuries like we had last year, man, this team could struggle, man, because of our depth, which I thought we would be a strong point on the deep in the back end.
right. I think the main thing though, man, like a lot of those guys, man, need to come out and like we just mentioned, like Tyler Lacey, Mason Smith. I thought he played, but and Armstead, you know, because a lot of these other guys are rotation. We have guys that are rotational guys start. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So the thing is, man, it's like dog, everybody want, why, beginning of the season, you want to see your team at full strength. You want to see what you got out there. I think that really like, man, I think the offense is going to take a step forward. I think Trevor Lawrence, man, have a bounce back season. At least that's what I'm hoping for. Like I said, I think he got the tangibles to go for it. Me personally, outside of that fumble, which mistakes happen. I think his foot got caught up with one of the blockers or whatnot. His foot got caught up and he stumbled. That led to a turnover. But outside of that, man, I pretty much, man, I would say, man, I give Trevor an A, man. You get what I'm saying? I like what I saw out of him. We didn't really see. We just saw a small sample size of him, but from what I see, he did get in the end zone. Down there in the red zone, we was able to get inside there.
Yeah,
So
man, I agree. I agree, man. Like I say, he looked better, man. But you know, I think when you look at outsiders that look at Trevor Lawrence, man, I'm just going based off of like the text messages I got when it happened. Oh, typical Trevor. You know what I'm
right,
saying? That's what the narrative is. You feel me, dog?
yeah,
So it's like, yo, he get you down in the red zone, he mess up. And this is
right,
a guy that is a Clemson. He was a Trevor Lawrence fan, but he's a Clemson. He went, for Clemson, but he's a Carolina fan. But he was saying that. Then
right,
just, I mean, around the league, there's a narrative. We already know what Shady McCoy feel about Trevor
right,
Lawrence. And then seen the stat today. Salute to my boy damn, what's his name that come to my head? Jamel Grant, man. He has showed a stat on Facebook. You know that only 9 receivers that Trevor Lawrence has thrown to is still currently in the NFL. Actually, only 3 right now, I think, and the 3 of them are all currently playing on the roster. They was like, all the receivers that he was throwing to and things like that. Half of them ain't in the league right now.
right,
So I'm not saying to say this to say that Trevor Lawrence not the issue. But again, it just goes back to what I was saying last year on the channel that hey, that is other factors other than trouble, bad play. But that was an interesting stat though to say that, oh, I was like, damn, it's pretty, that's pretty damning, to see like, all the guys, that is throwing to either not in the lead or they're not, they're not playing on the team.
And I get it, but I'm pretty sure you can look at a lot of other quarterbacks and point out that same stat line. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Gotcha.
I mean, nevertheless, the guys that he had on his team was dudes that was able to play. You know,
Right,
I mean, year one to year two, he had the same group of receivers. You know, what changed? It was better quarterback playing better coach. You know, from year
right.
one to year two. That's pretty much what it was. You know, the receiving court got better in year three. What happened? You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, we didn't play as good. You know, things got worse in year four. You know, so I mean, like, you can point this same stat line out amongst a lot of other quarterbacks or whatnot. But you know
Right.
what it boiled down to, man, you have to be when you're a veteran, you have to be able to play past adversity. You get what I'm saying? We look at Andrew Luck when he came in. Same hype around Andrew Luck was the same hype around Trevor Lawrence. You
Right.
know, I think that when you look at far as situations that quarterbacks done thrived in, you get what I'm saying? In their first year, Andrew Luck by far probably had the worst. You know, out of all the quarterbacks that have thrived in their first season, I think he had the worst situation. You know, Pierre Garcon, they lost him. Um, Joseph Adai, all these dudes had left the coach by this time. You know, I think the only person that was there, maybe you could say Reggie Wayne, and he started, aging at this
He
time.
was on the decline
You
at that
know,
point. Yeah.
I want to say Donald Butler was the lead receiver at the time. You know what I'm saying? So see what they saying, bro? So out of all that, man, you get what I'm saying, man. It's always factors and whatnot. You know, you just have to be able to overcome these factors, and that's what it boiled down to.
All right. Man, I'm rooting for Trevor to have a bounce back year as well, man.
What they
But
said out there, bro? They ready? Okay, I'll be out there in a minute. Come, yeah, y'all back, bro.
all right.
Yeah. They got it all the way loaded up. Hold on, what they said? What they said?
So man, I really do.
Huh?
But that drive, man, I ain't gonna lie, man, that
Say it again.
like finished trouble. But
Okay.
I do think that the offense do look good, and I think moving forward, with the when it comes to the Jaguars, man, I think this offense right now is looking like it's gonna have to be the strong part of the team right now because I still don't trust the defense. So I think the offense is gonna have to keep us in games this year. Right
Wow.
now, which again, it's still preseason, so I could be jumping the gun. But right now, I would say right now, I thought the defense would be the strong suit with all the acquisitions that we got with Jordan Lewis, and we had Travis Hunter obviously playing on the defensive side. Jerry Jones want to step up. So at the end of the day, man, I think that's what I'm most concerned about. I think we got a secret weapon in Greg with Greg Little the kicker. I think we got something in that with that kid. So
Yeah.
those are my thoughts.
Yeah. For sure. Man, we just got our load finished, so finna wrap it up.
All right, man. So what I'm saying? We gotta know what I'm saying, wrap up real quick. So what I'm saying, it's your boy Joe,
It's your boy Greg.
and we out. Peace. So I just ended the podcast. Go
All
check
right.
out the